I'd been planning to do an installation based on Roman anchor stocks for many years, after having first seen them in the Archaeological Museum in Palermo in 2008. They were placed around a courtyard on top of concrete blocks, and being made from lead, some were in good shape, but others, as you can imagine, were a bit battered and misshapen. I took some photographs and made a few drawings in a sketchbook and thought that this could be useful for a sculpture, but I never quite envisaged what I wanted to do with them. So I left it for a couple of years. Then in 2010 I made a few small anchor type sculptures in wood, and although pleased with them, in retrospect they did not have the elegant proportions I was looking for. So towards the end of the following year and into 2012 I made 4 anchors, large anchors, in oak and acacia. These were the first ones that achieved what I had in mind. They had a beautiful balance between the central part where the rope would be tied and the arms. I had the opportunity to show these larger ones in the Royal Birmingham Society of Artists Gallery in October-November of 2012. And for this exhibition I presented them on concrete blocks of varying heights, trying to reflect how I'd first seen them displayed in Palermo. I was never quite satisfied with this approach. They did look good, but there was something missing, so to speak. That's what I felt. Again, I put the project to one side and picked up the idea during the summer of 2015. So I did some drawings and eventually I sketched them as if they could be hanging from a ceiling. The solution seemed to be the right one and it was probably the way to go. Now it was the case of finding a place to hang them to get a better understanding. With this in mind, I made a few more, ending up with about 14 or 15 anchors of different sizes and using different types of wood. Fortunately, I was able to hang them in the space we had in Friuli in the Finile. I could hang them from the rafters, and we did this in December 2015, and they worked fantastically well, and I was really pleased. And it was from this point that I realised they would make a great installation. The problem was to find the right space. I'd left London and I moved to Italy. As a consequence, a lot of my work came to a bit of a halt. This project in particular I had to put to one side. So eventually this year I was at the Art Farm Pilastro, which is an annual arts event organised by Umberto Palazzo. Umberto had this other space over in Sanguinetto. It was a small theatre space. Well, when we walked inside, I couldn't believe it. It was fantastic. It was a very small wooden theatre that he'd had built inside what would have been the finile of what I believe to be some old outbuildings of a former monastery. It was just incredible. The deep space and the seating which surrounded the oval stage was just perfect. I thought, this has got to be the space. This is the place I've been looking for the last few years. I asked Alberto to talk with Umberto, and he seemed to be really interested straight away. He could see the potential immediately, I thought. From there I made a few drawings to illustrate how the anchors could look in the space, which I presented to Umberto at a follow-up meeting, so he could get a real idea of how the installation would be. So what you see is the result of finding the perfect space for the display of this work. Until we actually put the anchors in place, it was really hard to see the full impact. But the marriage of the sculptures with the space was, I felt, a perfect match.